challenging time to be a teacher. We don't get paid a lot, the days can be long and exhausting, demands from students, parents, admins, and districts can be intense. There is always room for improvement, and there is always more to do. There are always new procedures to learn, new programs to run, new strategies to master. But it's when our fire burns the lowest that we remember our purpose. We teach because we're resilient. We teach because we're problem solvers. We teach because investing in kids is one of the highest callings we can imagine. We teach because we know that the classroom can be a place of magic and possibility. We teach because we have an unquenchable fire for learning and a passion to share it. We teach because our colleagues are some of the best human beings we will ever meet. We teach because we have an opportunity to influence the global citizens that will make this world a better place. If you're still on fire for learning and growth, join the Teachers on Fire Roundtable for conversations that will warm your heart, spark your thinking, and ignite your practice. You'll hear from real people and real educators with real solutions, not make-believe perfection, but ideas, inspiration, and a path toward change and transformation in K-12 education today. My name is Tim Cavey. I'm an 8th grade teacher, assistant principal, and the host of the Teachers on Fire podcast. I'm inviting you to join us at the Teachers on Fire Roundtable. Because you matter, your voice is important, and we are all better together. Good morning, Teachers on Fire. My name is Tim Cavey. I'm an 8th grade teacher, assistant principal, and the host of the Teachers on Fire podcast, and I'm excited to bring you another edition of live blog reviews. This is our opportunity to shine some light on creative work by great educators, hopefully share their ideas, promote their content, and also in the course of our review, offer you some kind, specific, and helpful feedback. Some suggestions that come to our minds as we look at your content for the very first time. Well, not for the very first time, actually, right, Jillian?
Right.
So, today by a phenomenal co-host. Thank you so much, Jillian, for joining me. Would you, before we launch into this, would you introduce yourself and just talk about your current context in education and where you are situated?
Sure. Good morning, everybody. It is just a great day here in Florida. I'm a 2nd grade teacher in the Clearwater, Tampa Bay area. So yes, it was a late night for us last night because, the Lightning won another playoff game in the Stanley Cup. So we got one more. Hopefully we can pull it off. But no, going back to education, sorry. Been in education for about 20 years. And this is, I'm actually looking really forward to this next year just because it's going to be different. We've learned so much out of this past year and a half that, I'm pumped. I'm excited. I know I'm only halfway through summer, but I'm already thinking and preparing. So yeah, let's go.
Halfway through summer, Jillian, that's a little bit painful to hear, actually. I'm just starting mine over here, but I know our calendars are aligned a little bit differently. That's awesome. I feel the same way about next year. There's just so much potential. I'm looking forward to not wearing a mask, hopefully, and just getting back to, well, I won't say back to normal. I know that's a big no-no, but getting back to some normalcy. Maybe that's a safer way to put it, just in terms of interacting with kids and doing what we love to do. All right, so welcome again to our live blog review show. We've got Fonz joining us and a few others. Go ahead and say hello in the live chat and let us know where you are joining from. I'm going to say right off the top that if you have a blog and you're doing some writing and you would like us to review your content, go ahead and put that in the chat and you will jump straight to the front of the queue. If that is you, we would love to shine some light on your work while you are here with us. That would be a lot of fun. These are the features. I'm going to put these up on the screen. These are the features that we are looking for as we visit your blog. We are looking at branding and URL. Is the web address easy to find and remember? Number 2, content. What does your site offer? Number 3, design. Is it appealing and accessible? Okay, that is, I've got a little typo there. Got to fix that. Number 4, navigation. Is it easy to make my way around the site? Number 5, stickiness. Is it easy for me to follow and subscribe? And number 6, the about page. Is it clear who you are, and is it written in the third person? And that's for Google search ability. So those are some of the things we will be looking at. And I know from experience, our time always flies by, and we have a lot of fun doing this. Jillian, actually, before we go any further, we got to talk about your blog. Could you tell us about your blog and your work? And you've got a particular style that I saw you tweet about. So could you take it away? Tell us about your blogging work and what you hope to do maybe this summer.
Well, yeah, I'm pretty new to blogging. I mean, if we are talking about, people who've been doing it for years and years, I started about a year ago, and that was just due to COVID. Actually, it was March of last year. And I thought, what better time to just sit down and start reflecting and writing some of my thoughts down, which I did. So I started, a couple times a month. It's kind of stuck to a couple of times a month, which I really like. I don't feel pressured that way. I feel like it's very doable and shareable. So that is, yes, that's actually my personal website. So, and my blogs are about once a month, and my little podcasts are about once or twice a month as well. So, but yeah, style is a little bit different. I feel that you kind of develop your own style as you go. So when I look back on the very first things that I actually blogged, and I look at things now, I'm like, boy, it's so different. I have found the way that I want to share my voice. So, which for me is in little bite-sized pieces. So I went from writing really long paragraphs to kind of like making things more streamlined, writing maybe 1 or 2 sentences and separating them, putting a little subheading in there, getting a few. And okay, so the other thing is, and it's funny because I read your blog this week about about writing and about, Medium and all of that. Yeah. And I thought, I'm breaking all of these things that he is saying I should do, right? So I should capitalize all of my, proper nouns. And I've got to the point where I don't. I have this little style where I write all in lowercase letters, even I. So, and it's funny, I've had a lot of people comment on that have said, that's really cool. It's very easy to read. It gets my attention because I'm looking at all the mistakes, with the capitalization, but it keeps their attention. So, yeah, so that's kind of how that has gone, especially I think it was like even the last one that I did. It was really short, but it was just, very, very streamlined. So that's kind of become my style. Not to be too wordy. I know I talk a lot, but I've learned to kind of like condense my words down when I write. So.
Sorry, Jillian, I was having trouble loading the right window, and sometimes that happens here in the StreamYard screen sharing. But here's an example of one of Jillian's recent posts, and you'll see what she's talking about. Now, I mean, I always say every rule is there are exceptions to every rule, and I actually applaud students, thinking as a teacher now for a moment. If that rule is broken and I can see it's done with intention and it's consistent, I think this is really cool. I mean, it's you, right? And I also, like you mentioned, I was going to say the white space. In this case, it's black space, but I really like the way that you've sort of chunked your thoughts, and you're doing a lot of paragraphing. And I think that's important too, and that's something we'll come back to, that I read Medium style guides, and when it comes to your typical reader is reading on a mobile device, and they need to feel that sense of momentum, like they are getting through your article. And I see a lot of education writers who are putting together these monstrous paragraphs of 10 to 20 lines, and it's just overwhelming. It's sort of like that email you get from an administrator that is like multi-paragraphs and 15 lines each. It's just too long, didn't read, right? And so I really like the way you are paragraphing it out and sort of using that white space to generate that momentum as a reader goes through. I think that's really important.
Thank you. As part of that is I'm like you. I cannot sit and read paragraphs of content. It just, I have ADHD, and I'm like, I have to it's got to be quick. It's got to be, let me get through it. Yeah, too long, didn't read. I love looking at those things because that's the gist. That's what you want to get. So.
All right, awesome. We're having fun already, and this is energizing my writing brain. So without further ado, I'm going to jump into our first blog this morning, which is from our good friends, Che and Pav. What an honor. I had an interaction. They might not even remember this. I was interacting with one of them on Twitter some time ago, and they were talking about this live blog review show. And I said, hey, can we review your blog? And they were down for that. So let's get that up on the screen. There's a little bit of clicking around I have to do, so bear with me here. But let's take a look at Che and Pav. And I'm going to take that's showing up all right. Okay, so maybe I will take that banner off. Okay. And I will go full screen for, I'm going to take off there we go. So we've got Che and Pav full screen. Okay, so let's take a look at their work. First of all, first thing I noticed, Jillian, super professional looking site just from the format. I think this is going to show up really nicely on mobile. And as you scroll down, you see these different sections. This is kind of the same style. I don't know if there's a name for this. I'm sure there is, but this reminds me a little bit of your layout in terms of these big, nice, bold sections as you scroll down on a desktop or a laptop. And so if you aren't familiar with Che and Pav, I should introduce them a little bit. These are two fantastic active educators and podcasters based in Toronto, and they are just a ton of fun. They also do some live radio, and Jillian, they're just all over the place. How else could we describe these two?
The dynamic duo.
The dynamic duo. Yeah,
Seriously. And, it was funny. You're pulling up I love their blog. And so just the fact that it's limited, I look at things from more of like a creative standpoint as far as color and font and blocking and color blocking. And it's great because there's really three main colors. There's white, black, and red, but it's bold. They're using the 2 or 3 fonts, which I love that rule. Right. And it's and their face. I mean, they draw you in, if you know who they are, or you've even heard them on live radio, that's them right there. So their branding, is spot on. And yesterday I went to listen to one of their live shows, and they had linked it to their actual website here. And I found it very easily. So it's great.
Yeah, it is so good. So let's take a quick look at their blog if I can. And I'm a little bit new to this annotate tool. So let's see if I can get back. Okay, so this is their blog. And right away, Jillian, we have these huge preview photos, but very visual, right? And I think there's something appealing about that. So as I scroll down, again, another nice thing is I'm going to keep going back to this. I think this format will show up very nicely in mobile. This is probably a case where every slide takes up a full screen on mobile. So let's just open up their latest, which was posted June 2nd, if I'm reading that date correctly. And just looking at the dates, that's always interesting. So May 16th, May 1st, March 23rd. So they are averaging, it looks like, about 1 per month. Episode 86 struck a nerve. And you're right about the font, because this font, Jillian, I think is the same that we see up here in the navigation menu as well, right? So keeping that consistent. And this is actually a guest blog by Cristobal Saldana. I'm not familiar with him.
Yeah, he does his own blogs too. So he must have done a guest blog for them. Yeah.
Yeah, very cool. And he is based in deep South Texas, he says. All right, so he's also close to the Gulf. All right, well, just very quickly, here are the 6 things that we're looking at. So branding and URL, we said, is on point. The domain, the URL is cheandpav.com. So they're just using their nicknames, and that's what they've branded all of their, or most of their content around. That's easy to remember. I don't know, in terms of the Google, we're not going to Google search them right now, but I would assume Che and Pav would probably bring up this site first result. Content, what does the site offer? Well, we just got a tour, and there's a lot here. Love those blog posts. That's what we're most interested in this show, but they've also got all of their podcasts and other media content. The design is appealing and accessible. Navigation, thinking about that navigation bar at the top, it's easy to make our way around. Stickiness, I'm not sure about a follow and subscribe, although I think I was here earlier and I got a pop-up for a newsletter. Just thinking, let me know if you saw it somewhere, Jillian, in terms of how to follow.
Well, I'm looking it up on my mobile device, and it pops right up. So the subscribe to our newsletter pops up just as soon as you log in. So, or you go to their site. And like you said, I mean, it's, I don't know. I know aren't showing me, but so yeah, everything is blocked. Very nice. The fonts show up. It's really nice.
Look at this. Look at this about page. Who are Pav and Che? And again, you've just got these full smiles, laughter. It's inviting. You want to hear more. And yeah, it doesn't sort of overdo it. It's just a good summary of who they are and what they're all about. So, I mean, one thing that jumps out too is just the simplicity, right? It's colorful, it's vibrant, it's not over texted, if that's a term. And they're just keeping things simple. And I saw I left the blog features card up on the screen too long there, but anyway.
It was the first thing that popped up in Google, by the way. So I just put in Che and Pav and it came right up. So that's awesome. Yeah. Nice. And I like that it's really focusing on them together as a team, and as, who they are together. So there's not a lot of, I mean, it is very personalized, but it's not personalized, I'm this person. It's who are we together and collectively, which I think is really nice.
Fonz, thank you so much. She says, Tim, we can't see the screen you are showing now. So Jillian, let me know if I'm doing anything dumb. That will probably happen again here as we go along. But thanks,
okay.
Fonz.
I was looking at my phone, so I'm trying.
It's so easy to forget. What am I screen sharing right now? So anyway, Che and Pav, full marks. Let's move on to our next blog. And I just let this lady know on Twitter that we would be featuring her. So we just saw, again, that was Che and Pav at cheandpav.com. And Jillian, have you got Mommy Teacher Fashionista? Let's pull that up.
I do. All right. So I'm just going to share my screen, correct?
Yeah, go for it.
Okay.
This is always tricky to do. That you have to decide, do I want to share a tab, the entire screen?
I know.
No one knows.
I'm going. Okay, here we go.
No, I have the same question.
All right. Now I don't have the cute little annotative tool that you have. I'm not too sure about that, but here is where you land when you come to mommyteacherfashionista.com, which again, it's quick. It pulls it right up. I love it. It's just very simple at the top. And I know Jen personally, so I know that this is just her style. She's not over the top. She's, hey, let me tell you how it is. This is what I want to show you. So I love this. I love how it's just, and pink is her color. She's all about pink. So it's a very attractive color, but looking at just right here, she's got just the different things that have popped up with her blog. So she's got things that she has, the dates. I mean, it just all comes right up, and she always has some kind of image that is just sparkling. So
now I'm looking at your screen here, and I'm trying to read those gray words under those are tags or categories?
They are tags, yes. Yeah, okay. So at first, and when I first pulled it up and I'm like, oh, this is great, I'm familiar with it, but nowhere on here does it say this is a blog, right? So until you actually click on one, okay, then you realize that it is her blog. So So in that case, there's not, it could be maybe a little more, hey, this is what this page is about, but over here is her menu. So it just kind of pops up right at her main blog. So not even that it is a full website. This could just be her personal blog, period. So
Very cool. And I like this page. It sort of brings into focus right away who she is. Jennifer, that hair is amazing, by the way. I'm sure you've heard that many, many times. It's part
It's
of her
great.
brand, obviously, right?
Yeah, well, she's
Even a
blonde
pink.
now, but yeah, it
Okay.
was pink for a long time, which that's what drew me to her, to be honest. Like, I'm like, who is this? And, she's just, everything. She's a mommy, teacher, fashionista. And it's neat because she puts a lot of her fashion, into what she puts out there. And it's just, this is kind of her description of herself. Everyday life as a mom, teacher, and little girl at heart, more meaningful, creative, and fun. So she just likes to have fun. She's got a great book. She's a teacher. It's just a lot of fun. She's a lot of fun. So.
Very cool. Okay, so let's walk through the checklist. The URL is, she's built a strong brand around mommy, teacher, fashionista. So that works, right?
Yes. Yes.
She's got some good content. I'm assuming, I haven't looked too closely, but I'm assuming sort of each of those domains of mommy, teacher, and fashionista, she's got some posts for each of those. They're not subdivided. It's just sort of all of them fit into one of those domains, right?
Right. I'm pretty sure that's the way she's done that. And she does have like other things. So she's like Educate the Heart. She's got a Facebook group that's pretty big. She's very involved in Twitter, has a great Twitter presence. So she does a lot. She posts a lot of positive affirmations daily on Twitter. So she's a real neat person to follow because she just exudes that enthusiasm and just the creative spirit within her. So
that was an awesome review. If you're looking for Jen, she is at Jen, and I hope I'm saying this correctly, Quattrucci on Twitter, at Jen Quattrucci. Jillian, do you know better than me?
I believe that's how you say it, yes.
All right, good. And let's see, have we covered other, definitely in terms of design, it's appealing, accessible, good spacing, right?
Mm-hmm.
Navigation, you mentioned the 3 bars. Do you feel like that is, in terms of web literacy, most people see those bars and understand there's going to be an expanding menu there. Do you feel like, you mentioned earlier, maybe just a subline or something under her title?
I'm thinking that could be possible because when you come to, this is the landing page, but it's also her main page. So if, it just could be, my blog, the blog, but just to let us know, hey, this is not like a full complete website. This is just my blog. And, or it could link to, her Facebook page, which it does here. So I don't even know let me go to see what happens here. Okay, let me do that.
Yeah, that is nice to have those options. And I'm wondering, Jen, if you're watching, if you're with us, I do wonder about maybe a navigation bar. I don't want to ruin your vibe there, but I do wonder about, just like Jillian said, letting people know there are other things, other parts of your work that they can visit.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, I think we've covered the basics. Let me be careful. Stickiness, was there a follow or subscribe option? Jillian, I know you pulled down the screen there, but if you've still got it open.
Yes, if you go all the way to the bottom, because basically her, when I keep scrolling, it does, it keeps going past, it's all of her blog posts. So it's blog after blog after blog after blog. So I haven't even gotten down to the bottom yet.
No worries. So. Okay, that's something to think about if you are a blogger. Again, we've mentioned it before, but just make sure you give your readers who love your stuff that opportunity. And Jennifer, we probably just haven't seen it or noticed it yet. But I'm always curious too to see which blog platform people are using. WordPress is kind of the king out there, but there are a number of others that educators are using. Jennifer, thank you so much for allowing us to review your blog. It looks so colorful, bright, it's accessible, great spacing, great content, and you've made it clear who you are and the work that you do. So thank you so much.
Yeah, on her about page, there's a send me a message at the bottom.
Okay, so a bit of a contact opening. All right. Well, next up, Jillian, we are going to visit a mutual friend, Dr. Brandon Beck at let me read this correctly, BrandonBeckEDU.com. By the way, that EDU tag is, it makes sense. I remember when I first came into teacher Twitter, I was not familiar with EDU. And so it wasn't as intuitive for me. So that's something to think about, but BrandonBeckEDU.com. And I know, without checking if there is a BrandonBeck.com, I know there are a lot of Brandon Becks out there. So he's distinguishing himself from the crowd, which probably makes a lot of sense. If you do have maybe a more common last name, that's probably a good step to take. All right, let me see if I can bring this up on the screen. Brandon, we are excited to take a look at your work, sir. And let's see. Dr. Brandon Beck. All right, so Unlocking Unlimited Potential Now is a pop-up that we see right away, and I've got my annotate tool ready. So up here we've got his navigation. That seems quite clear. And we have a nice picture of Brandon and his book and lots of great reviews. Now, just on my desktop, Brandon, if you are watching live or on the replay, just an observation that font is quite small. So I would have trouble reading that. I don't know how that shows up on a mobile. It certainly demonstrates that you are getting a lot of 5-star reviews, which is awesome. Congratulations on that. So Brandon has just recently published, if it's not clear already, he's recently published this fantastic book from Codebreaker. And he's got, let's see if these buttons work. No, they do not. So this is just a nice promotional image that he is sharing. And let's go over to his blog. So if you are looking for some inspiration, Brandon is your guy. He's got my blog, Unlimiting Unlimited Potential series. Why do I keep saying that? Unlocking Unlimited Potential. There we go. It's still early in the morning. All right. So I'm just checking StreamYard to make sure I'm sharing this correctly. Okay. Now he's got this format, Jillian, reminds me of yours a little bit.
It must be GoDaddy. I don't see GoDaddy on his anywhere, but I know that's their typical format as far as, sharing. When you share the blog page, they have a specific build for a blog page, and that's their default. That's kind of what comes up, which to me, like, I've tried to go back and change some of that because I don't like the way, and this is just my personal feeling, but I don't like the way it doesn't show the whole image. Like at the top of each blog, it'll just show a part of the image, and I don't know how to fix that. So it looks like he's got the same thing where it doesn't show. I didn't even realize that GoDaddy, I know that GoDaddy has been hosting domains for what feels like decades, but I didn't realize that they actually are a blog platform, or they offer one of sorts. So that's really interesting. Yeah. Now, I have a couple of questions here, Brandon, with just some curious questions. So I'm trying to remember where in the continuum this opened up to. I'm looking for your most recent post. See, it goes from April 15, 2020. Oh, that's the beginning of the carousel, I think, in terms of most recent. Where's my annotation? So this post here is the most recent. And then, that's odd. And then this would be like the back of the carousel, if I'm looking at this properly. And then as you go here, now I want to get rid of, those. There. And then as I go to the right, that's interesting. Okay, so there are a few, there's not a ton of posts, but I think that makes sense if I'm looking at that correctly. So let's look at his most recent post. Ooh, I like this display format. We've got a nice bold title up here. My blog, okay, so maybe this title is just present, above all of his blog posts. And then this is the blog post title, Your Time Is Now. And there's a picture of him speaking. I like the fonts. I like the white space. I believe in you. Yeah. Educate with passion. And then a nice sort of about the author, which is cool, I think,
for someone who just finds this individual post, they're instantly introduced to him and his work. I think that's great. Recent posts. There's the stickiness, right? Sign up for blog updates. And I like the categories. Some people have told me they're not a big fan of this, but I like this because, for example, if I'm interested in growth mindset, I can just jump in here and I get his posts on growth mindset. A couple of quick observations, Brandon. This text up here, I'm not super happy with the level of contrast there. So you've got white, sort of a little bit smallish white font on multicolored photos that include some light colors. So, you know, trying to look at this through older eyes, I just wonder about improving that contrast somehow. I would think about maybe changing this image. I don't know if that image is, I like the point that it brings out of kids from all, a diversity of backgrounds. That much is clear.
And it hides his face. So he's behind that.
Oh, he's right here.
Yeah, he's right there in the middle. I know. I noticed that because even on a mobile device, it comes up and you can see, but I can tell that that's his face in the background. So
all right. Yeah.
So we want to see your face, Brandon.
Yeah, we want to see your face. So it's a really awesome picture. But that's one observation.
Or
but you know what,
put
Brandon?
An overlay on top of it to make it a little,
Yeah, maybe some kind of a box, or like I say, some kind of a different photo. So that's about the only critique or suggestion I can think of. Branding and URL looks great. Content is solid. You've got some posts. We'd love to see more, but I know you're early into the blogging game. It is, let me make sure I'm sharing the right. Okay. Design, it's appealing and accessible. I mentioned, watch out for small font or low contrast here or there. But when I dig into your blog post, I really like that layout, actually. The navigation menu is great. It's strong and bold. You had that follow and subscribe option. And did we look at his about page? I think we sort of opened up right to that. Well, it had the reviews of his book. Oh, book Brandon. Let me just see. This is sort of the last stop for Brandon.
I'm thinking he has the about me on his, on that first page, on that page.
About
down at the bottom. Which I might move that up a little.
Now, yes, about me, you're right. And I wonder if he might want to include that in his navigation bar.
Make it a separate navigation page.
Yeah, just to make that a little more findable. But yeah, this is a great summary. One suggestion, and I've mentioned this before from my friend Jeffrey Bradbury, Brandon, but consider making it about Brandon Beck. Or who is Brandon Beck? Because if I don't know who you are and I hear your name, I'm going to Google something like that. Who is Brandon Beck, or just Brandon Beck? And so that, I'm told, will help the Google SEO. But
I like that.
Yeah,
I like the way his blog posts were written. I like the way that he had set that up. And you said the white space. And if his book, actually, I've read his book and it's formatted kind of the same way. So it's not too much content. It's, it's spaced out just perfectly with all those nice subheadings. And I liked how he had the tags on the side and the different categories. I had never thought of that before, but that's really, really a brilliant idea.
I am looking at the bottom here. I can't tell if this is a WordPress blog or if it is, if it's a different platform, but I know WordPress likes this categories setup.
In WordPress, you can link your WordPress, because that's what I've done, is linking WordPress into GoDaddy. And it doesn't pop up that they don't credit that it's WordPress. It just is kind of a generic. GoDaddy does have their own blog format, but you can link your WordPress to it.
That is good to know. Yeah. Well, thank you, Brandon. It was a pleasure to explore your content. And we actually didn't go through, just for the sake of time, we didn't go through all of these headings, but you've got, again, you can book Brandon. This is a very sharp looking page, shows what you're all about. Videos. He's got, yeah, again, this is well laid out, and it shows some of his appearances on other shows, podcasts. This looks so slick. Like, honestly and truly, this is really, really well designed. So I'm glad I clicked around a little bit more. And what can we buy from you, Brandon? Well, the book and an Unlocking Unlimited Potential t-shirt. Okay. Very, very cool. So he's got it pretty nicely lined up here. This feels very, very slick, very professional. And I think we'll have to leave it there. But Brandon, that's a sharp looking site. I hope the few suggestions we offered you are helpful, but keep up the great work. I'm going to stop sharing this screen. Who do we have next, Jillian?
Oh, it's my turn.
Oh, and if you're not ready, that's totally fine. The next one, I'll just set this up a little bit. The next one, I think, is from someone named Sarah Kiefer.
All right, I will pull her up.
And she's got a blog called Tech You Can Do, Doing My Part to Inspire and Positively Impact Education.
All right.
So I'm going to stop sharing Brandon's here, and I'll put the URL of our next blog. Again, this is Sarah Kiefer, and she is on Twitter. She is at Kiefer SJ. I've definitely seen her around. And just before we go into the next one, Chris says, try putting the background image in black and white. I'm trying to recall do you know what he's referring to there, Jillian?
Chris, are you on Sarah's?
Oh.
He may be on Sarah's already. I've shared it if you want to.
Okay, there we go. So we've got Sarah. All right, take it away. Give us your first impressions, Jillian, because this blog is new to you, right?
It is very new to me. I've never seen this before. So I think Chris kind of jumped in there before we had a chance to see it. But Chris, I kind of agree with you. I think I love the way she has it looks like she's got a lot of nature in her theme. And I love that. I love, the background, but it's also, so you're kind of going from a natural background to then you've got the card kind of like stock clouds and things like that. It's just a little busy, and maybe if it was a little more fluid with as far as that nature kind of pulling together, maybe I would kind of, like you said, leave that background maybe a solid color and add the font, make the font a little bit more readable. It looks like she's got a couple of so this is doing my part to help inspire and positively impact education. I love that. It is a little difficult for my eyes to see.
Right.
So yeah, and I've noticed too when you have the print or the regular writing fonts versus the script fonts. I love combining them, but you have to find two that kind of work together. So that one is really kind of thick. So maybe if it was a little thinner, but I like the appearance of it. I know over on the right, she's got some of her looks like certifications with Moat and Wakelet and Flipgrid. I can't see them all. Maybe Google.
She's got a lot.
So yeah, lots of
certifications.
Lots of certifications, and maybe that could go on a personal page, maybe. But she's got a lot of things. Let's see, we've got a lot of links. We've got a lot of pages up there up top. We start out with. So I'm assuming this is her blog. This is the home page. I'm assuming it's the blog.
Yes. Yeah, I think so.
So let's just scroll on down.
And I've noticed a few educators offering tips about how to organize your drive now that teachers are in the off season. Yeah. It's like declutter time, right?
And I love that. I love that she's got these tips. So she's taken time to take one tip every week, maybe.
Now, I've got a suggestion for Sarah to think about. Can you click on one of those posts and open it up in its own page? I don't know if the screen share will follow you. Sometimes that doesn't work, but if you click on that one.
All right. So this was the first one, Summer Sunday tip number 1.
So I can't see the URL in your screen, but you can. Can you
Mhm.
tell me, does the URL include the word Summer Sunday Tip?
It does not. And you know what?
Oh, okay.
I don't know. Can I put that in the chat?
Well, here's what I'm
That's,
getting at. So that's actually a good thing. Um, in my experience, usually when you title a blog post, it ends up in the URL of that unique blog post. And
yeah.
then in terms of Googleability, the whole Summer Sunday Tip part of it wouldn't really be helpful in terms of a Google search. But you're saying it's not showing up in the URL, which is probably like if it's just something about to-do lists, that is probably helpful. So,
It says summer tip 1. So it doesn't say
okay.
summer Sunday tip number 1, but it doesn't say to-do list either.
Okay. So Sarah, that's something to think about too, is Google does look at words in the URL.
Hmm.
So you want to make sure that those, I just wonder about the Summer Sunday Tip, but you know what, if Googleability is not a huge priority, then that works. Definitely understand the series.
I love this series. I love how
Mhm.
she's kind of highlighted, okay, here is your tip. And then she has, here's what you need to do. There's kind of like some suggestions, next steps. So I like how she's kind of like highlighted that to where it breaks down a little bit. She's given several different things. Looks like it's kind of like going to the presentations that she has
Mhm.
talking about Google Tips. So she's got Wakelet, Google Docs, Google Sheets, Google Slides. And at the end of her blog, it does have all the various ways you can get in touch with her, which is really nice.
There's that stickiness, right? It gives
Yeah.
opportunities for other contact and connection, which is great.
Yeah. Let's see. Let's go back up. And if I go back home, all right, so this is the last one. And this was just, looks like last week. So she kind of wraps everything up here. I think maybe she's wrapped everything up and put into a Google slide. Yeah. So yeah, she's got a slide deck embedded in here with 6 tips to the Google Drive organization. So that's perfect. And that she kept that really short, which is really nice. And then she's also got, here's a website, Leveling Up with Google. So I think, yeah, that's a really nice one.
Sarah, you are one of our Google go-tos. You've got a lot of good stuff. And
Yeah.
Jillian, I love if you scroll back down about partway there, you've got the follow by email. And that's been one of my critiques of Blogspot. It's in the sidebar about halfway down the page, follow by email. And sometimes I feel like Blogspot doesn't make that obvious or easy enough, but I'm glad to see that actually. So I wonder if maybe other Blogspot users know that feature is available, because to me, again, I think that's really important.
Yeah. It's interesting. I didn't even see it over there, though. It's funny. I go to look, I kind of always scroll down to the bottom. I don't know if users, if we do that, if people are used to looking at the different formats or it's different. But I was scrolling all the way down here to the bottom to see if I could find it.
And look at all the categories she's got. I've got
yeah.
that reminds me of my own. Yeah, it just sort of grows, and that's what makes the page so long. So if you scroll down, I see a lot of familiar things there in the Twitter feed. Anything at the bottom, you make a good point because of those. Okay, blog archive, and then recommended professional books.
Wow.
She's got so much value here, so much great stuff. We don't have time to explore it all, but yeah. Looks great, Sarah.
Lots of resources, and it's easy. It does seem to be easy to navigate. I think just the landing page itself might be able to use just a little tweaking, but otherwise, I think, she's got a lot of great things in there.
Okay, I think we hit most of our points for Sarah. Thank you, Jillian. So I'm going to jump into our next blog, which is from someone named, let me get this up here, Don's Math Blog. Now, Don is a recent friend and acquaintance. He's been doing some writing on Medium, some stuff that I've been putting up on my Medium publication. So we're going to visit his blog, and I hope I get this right, but I believe Don is a a high school teacher in Hawaii, if I remember correctly. Apologies if I get that wrong, Don. So the very first thing I noticed, Don, is that, and let me just make sure I'm sharing this correctly. Okay, so you can see it all right, Jillian? I think we're all right.
I can, yeah.
So Don, I'm just noticing this pop-up here. I'm not a huge fan of the way it just shows up right over, like, and I don't even know if you can see. Yeah, do you see what is going on here?
Oh, I saw, yeah.
He's got a subscribe pop-up, which is great, but I think we need a colored background. Right now it's clear, and so it's just clashing with the text on the page. So right away, that's one suggestion, and I'm trying to see how I can close this, actually.
I don't see, I was just looking for an X.
I'm looking for the, where's the X? Okay, so this could be, see, this is so good. I hope for Don to be able to see viewers' experience. So genuine question here. Now this is a Wix website. Okay. Which Wix makes some very visually friendly sites. Genuine question here. I cannot see how to close this. Okay. All right, Don. Well, I'm going to have to persevere with the pop-up on the screen. I cannot see how to close it, but so Don's got, first of all, the domain donsmathblog.com makes a lot of sense. Blog, I believe, is where we are. I'm over here in the navigation menu. And one comment on the navigation, Don, I wonder about making these words a little bigger or bolder, just so that they're a little more intuitive about these are different pages you can visit. I would look at that. And he's got, so looking at dates, June 4, May 26, April 18. So he's putting out about a post per month, actually another one April 9. So a little bit better than a post a month. And looking at this one moving forward to next school year, let's take a look at that. Okay, interesting. So he's got, looks like you're rocking the Comic Sans. And it's nice and clean. Again, I'm sorry I can't get this pop-up away. I cannot see where I cannot close it. But yeah, Don, so he's got some good contact info here at the bottom. And I love Don's writing. Don has put together some really cool pieces just about his professional journey, how he's learning, things he's trying. Now, one suggestion I would make, Don, and Jillian and I talked about this earlier, this size of the paragraph gets a little overwhelming for people. So whether they're viewing on a computer or a mobile device, I'm just telling you, some people are going to give up, you know, and it's just human laziness or whatever. But I would look at going back to Jillian's style. I would go back to maybe a line or two, 3, you know, aim for 3 as a max. I know it's different kind of writing than anything formal, but it just makes it a little easier on the mobile, in the mobile environment. Would you agree, Jillian?
Yeah, I definitely think so. I mean, I do appreciate the way the Comic Sans is very readable, and everyone appreciates the readability of that. But even if you just, I mean, you don't even have to rewrite anything. You could just actually just break up those paragraphs into smaller chunks. But yeah, I'm looking at it on a different screen, and yeah, I have to agree with that.
Let me just okay, so I'm not streaming the right tab. Let me change that up here.
I'm not able, on my end, I'm not able to click on any of the navigation at the top.
Oh.
Were you able to do that?
Now I'm sharing a different page. Is this the page, or you're still on the previous?
If you go back to, I went back to the home page. I can't get off the home page. I could get into the blogs because I could click on the pictures.
Oh, interesting. Which, are you in Chrome, Jillian?
I am.
Okay, so am I. So that's interesting. So there's some feedback, Don, that Jillian cannot click on those section headers. I clicked on, let's see, my website, Teaching Mathematics. So we are taken to this page. We are learning about Don, where he was born and raised. Oh yeah, he is in Hawaii, Oahu. We're not at all jealous, Don. Jillian has no reason to be. She's on the ocean. Well, actually, all three of us are on the ocean, I guess. So there you have it.
That's true. But we're on hurricane watch, so
that's right.
I'd rather be in Hawaii.
Don's got Writer for Teachers on Fire magazine. Yes, excellent. So again, if that's confusing anyone, that is a separate deal. That's a Medium publication. So he's got a nice little bio and introduction to him page here. Let me see if, and I apologize that the sharing is a little slow here, but I think that's about our main feedback, Don, for your page is, number one, figure out how we can get rid of this pop-up. Because I love the subscribe option, but not such a big fan that it is stuck on top of the text. And then now I'm clicking these navigation headings, but Jillian is not getting anything when she clicks those. Mm-mm. And are you on a PC, Jillian?
No, I'm on a MacBook Pro.
Oh, so am I. So
interesting.
that is weird. Yeah. DonsMathBlog.com. You've got the great domain and URL. Content. I said before, I love your writing, Don. Love how you are sharing your journey and your practice. Keep going, sir. Keep writing. Keep sharing. I think it's going to gain impact and effectiveness over time. I've already really enjoyed a lot of your posts. The design and navigation, that's probably where you want to focus your efforts based on our experience here today. And you've got a good about page that makes it clear who you are. So that part is good to go. Well, I think we have time for one more, and I might be catching you off guard again here, Jillian, but did you have a chance to open Dr. Rosa Isaiah's page?
Got it. Yes.
Okay. All right. I'm going to stop sharing over there. And so let me get that up while Jillian pulls up that website. Here is what we are. I think this will be our last review for today. We are reviewing Dr. Rosa Isaiah. I hope I'm saying that. Oh, am I? I-S-I-A. Okay. Making sure I'm spelling that correctly. All right. Take it away. First impressions, Jillian.
First impression. So I did not know who she was. So I kind of like that it just like shoots it right out here. I'm Dr. Rosa Isaiah, a blog about my journey as an educational leader for social justice. Boom. I mean, there you go. This is what it is. And then she's got, as soon as you jump on it, this looks like her most recent, I hope it's not the most recent post, maybe. It's April 4th, 2020. I didn't even notice that. I was thinking April 2021. Recent post, 2018. All right, so we are not too current here, unless there is something. Visit profile. No. All right. Interesting. Okay. I was kind of like, oh, excited, but now I don't see anything. But we could click on this blog from 2020 about crisis leadership. So I think this probably at one time was a very relevant topic. Mm-hmm. And I think, we still were through some crisis leadership this year. Right. But yeah, so we've got some good content here. You got a good amount of paragraph separation here with the white space. I always love it when people list things. And I like how she listed, she's talking about helping me. How can I be a better crisis leader? Here's some things I can do. So, and just the fact that she's bolded, okay, people first, lead with data, transparency, and clear communication. Those are I love those bulleted points and those numbered points. There's 10 of them, which is kind of a great number. I always like even numbers.
Although fun fact, I listened to some blogging podcasts, and apparently odd number listicle articles do better in Google. For some reason.
And honestly, I've also been reading that, you should really only have 3. There's power in 3. So maybe she could have split that up into, hey, here's a series of, of blogs about how to be a crisis leader. And she ended with a nice quote there, I think, by someone else that she quoted, Nancy Cohn. But yeah, that was it.
All right. Very cool. Not a ton for us to comment on here, Dr. Rosa, but thank you for sharing yours. I think that may have come from LinkedIn. I can't just recall, but thank you for that. Our biggest tip for you, Dr. Rosa, would just be keep writing, get back to it, keep putting out content. We've seen some of these bloggers who have been able to put out 1 post per month, which is, I think, a pretty sustainable kind of a pace, pretty fair. Jillian, as we wrap up today, and we've got a few more in the bank that I'll try to get to in a month or two. So thank you again, Jillian, for joining me. Talk to us a little bit about your writing goals. You said you're halfway through your summer. Are you hoping to put out I don't want to put words in your mouth. What are your, and I know you've authored a second book as well. So you've got a lot going on, but what are your goals for the rest of the summer?
I do have a lot going on. So we got out May 20th. So our summer is almost half over, pretty much half over. But I have just enjoyed just the time the freedom to do some writing. I have done a little more, I've kind of dabbled in the podcasting a little bit. And I enjoy just using my voice, Tim. And I think that for all of these people, if you're, for your blogging, for your podcasting, whatever it is you're doing, find your niche. Find what makes you happy. It doesn't always have to be, find what you think people want to hear, because if you do that, your heart's not going to be in it all the time. So you really have to write about things that are important to your heart. So whether it's education, SEL, PBL, all of these acronyms that we have now, crisis leader learning. But I think that we all have so much to share, and individually we can, really collaborate together when we have time to share all of that. But yes, I do. I have, Live Seashells. I had 3 books come out in 1 year, which I never would have ever. I love to illustrate. I love just getting out those SEL messages, especially for students and for teachers too. So I had the opportunity, while I got out in May, had the opportunity through May and June to do virtual read alouds to classes all over the country and in Canada, several in Canada, Nova Scotia and Montreal and Ontario. So it has been a lot of fun being able just to share the message. The latest one though, is about my foster turned adopted dog, Piper Lou. And it is a story about, an uncertain future for a pup that has been abandoned, but she ends up finding hope and acceptance through her journey. So, that type of thing that can relate to students and relate to teachers and really relate to anybody just resonates with me. So I hope to keep doing more of that. I've got a couple of more projects kind of in the works, but I'm trying to kind of keep myself just, all right, take a few weeks of your summer and relax and take a break. So doing that, but also just having a lot of fun and having fun talking to people like you in my community and my network. So thanks so much for having me today.
Oh, Jillian, you are a joy, and I love just looking at the way that you interact on Facebook and Twitter, these different places. You are such a supporter, such an encourager, and I love that about you. Now, as we wrap up, what's the better site, or where would you like to direct people? Should they come to this website first, or?
So, Tim, we talked about this when you reviewed my blog last time.
I can't remember what my advice was.
Well, when I talked to you and Rochelle, it was interesting because when I started out blogging, it was just going to be personal. It wasn't going to be any big deal. It wasn't going to be professional. Right. So it was JillianDubois.com. Right. And as I grew and as I evolved and as I realized my hopes and dreams and vision of what I wanted to see happen, I started using a hashtag, Imparted Joy. And the more I used that hashtag, the more I was like, hey, nobody else uses that. Why don't I just capitalize on making that my brand? So impartedjoy.com is actually my brand. And it is through the vehicle through which I am publishing my books now and doing illustrating and virtual read alouds and all the likes. So eventually I've got to phase out to the personal JillianDubois.com because nobody's going to find me there. I guess you could find me there, and I've linked Imparted Joy to that, but impartedjoy.com is kind of my go-to now.
All right, so there you have it. I'm so sorry, Jillian. Here I am Googling you and thinking that's the solution, but
hey, if you Google me and you find me in both places, that's okay too. So,
well, and what we're touching on right now actually is a big problem for creators to wrestle with. So there is, I almost hesitate to mention it, but there is a timcavey.wordpress.com out there that I would imagine people probably find. If you land on that site, all you'll find is a bunch of old personal blog posts that have nothing to do with my work on Teachers on Fire. And I know part of my long-term vision or plan has to be to sort of modernize that space, get the .com, and make sure it links to my Teachers on Fire stuff. So actually what we're talking about right now is a really common problem. But impartedjoy.com, thank you so much, Jillian. Again, your work inspires me. And I so appreciate all of your insights that you shared today. If you are joining us live or on the replay, make sure to hit subscribe, follow along with us for hopefully more blog reviews like this one. I hope it was helpful, even if your blog wasn't one of the ones covered today. I hope you take away some tips or suggestions that maybe will inspire you in your own work. Jillian, enjoy the rest of your weekend. Go Lightning, go. And I'll keep you in my thoughts and prayers as that hurricane rolls your way. Stay safe.
Thank you so much. It's been a joy.
All right. And there we have